Hello viewers, this race here is exactly why I love playing Gran Turismo 7 online. I'm sure you'll agree by the end of it, as we have a 13 lap race around Deep Forest in Group 4 cars, the four-wheel drive ones at least. And this turned out to be just really close, really intense, just lots of respect, and it's everything we love about online racing, when it goes right at least. So, four-wheel drive cars in Group 4. Although, as you can probably tell, pretty much everyone going for the Lamborghini Huracan, which is the go-to car pretty much in Group 4, let alone the four-wheel drive ones. Now, I'm going to try and settle into this one. I did notice the standard was incredibly high and very consistent for this race. I actually had quite a good qualifying time, but it only put me 7th on the grid. And so the standard was really high. It was really cool to see. And I think maybe the fact that everyone is using the same car has actually bunched up the qualifying order. So pretty much everyone is within half a second on this grid, or at least the top 10. So really, really close. And the qualifying therefore kind of set up a precedent for the race, which would also be incredibly close and contentious in some moments. For example here, going for the overtake on Flash Dagger, braking perhaps 10 metres too late into the back of the Spanish driver in front. I do get the overtake done, but it wasn't done in the cleanest manner at all, and therefore we get some front bumper damage. I would presume as well that the Lamborghini driver in front has also got some rear bumper damage. I would say Lamborghini driver, pretty much everyone on the grid is a Lamborghini driver. We're crossing the line, we've moved up one singular position. Actually, no, two. I started 7th. Now, braking a little bit late there. Flash Dagger looking back up the inside. Doesn't quite get the job done. You can hang it around the outside, and look at that. How many cars I've got in the rearview mirror. 4 cars ready to pick up the pieces if I make a mistake. So I really need to get a move on and catch back up with the Spanish driver in front. Now, the slipstream was set, or it seems to be set, to a strong setting, as it's very difficult to pull away from the cars behind you, and this is in part the reason why this race was so close. As you'll probably tell throughout, there's lots of packs forming and it's very difficult to break clear even if you are a couple of tenths quicker per lap. And I think Deep Forest does lend itself, as much as it probably is chosen too many times in sport mode, it does lend itself to this kind of close racing because of the long straights. We have this very long straight here going towards this very awkward hairpin at the end of the lap. And then, of course, we have the run after this hairpin towards turn 1. So lots of long flat-out sections, and then, of course, the middle sector, twisty, a bit tighter, a bit more technical. So I would say that was a good lap, as we've slowly got back towards the Spanish driver in front, although definitely not close enough here to go for an overtake. You see the guy in third defending, opting to remove himself from the slipstream in front to protect his position, of which he has done a successful job. And look at that, immediately right onto the back of them as they start fighting. And you can see the stream of cars there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I mean, pretty much everyone there, like 12 cars in a train. And as we say, one mistake and you're going backwards very quickly. So this has turned out to be quite an unforgiving race. Any mistakes would be punished. And of course, there's always the opportunity for the odd penalty here and there on a track like this. Perhaps not as much as something like Red Bull Ring, but there's definitely a couple of corners where you can get a penalty. For example, this one, just on the exit, really having to extend that as much as possible, leaving 2 wheels on the red and white curb, but going no further than that. And now, it looks like the Spaniard has just dropped off slightly, just definitely conscious now that we don't want to lose touch with the group in front and lose the slipstream. I looked to the inside, it's kind of a feint. I didn't really want to go for the overtake there. And this is part of the strategy you have to kind of employ around this track. Do you go for the overtake into the hairpin because you risk being re-overtaken before you get to turn 1? So it's definitely a bit of a tactical element there. Spanish driver there manages to just get back in front. Although as we head back down the straight, I think we've got a really good chance here into turn 1, albeit with a bit of bump drafting from behind from Flash Dagger. space opens up, doesn't defend it. So we're going to go for the move, go for the position. And at the beginning of lap 4 here, move up into P4. He's trying to fight back on the exit, but I do have the inside for this sweeping right-hander. And therefore managed to consolidate the position. As before, with the overtake, you've got to kind of try and pull away quickly from the group behind, as you're going to be a bit of a sitting duck without the slipstream in front. We've got about a second to catch up in front, and look at this train. It's still right behind me. About 5 cars waiting to pick up the pieces. You do have to be pretty much on it on this race. Taking a nice line out wide before we get to the back straight. Let's whip it forward a little bit. Given the length of these straights, you know, it's not always a case that something's happening. On to lap 5. Good consistency. Not quite able to catch up with this guy in front. The sector times are really close between us. Until this moment here, as we're coming into the middle sector, it just drives a little bit wide on the exit there. And he's going to get himself the 0.5 second penalty, the fabled half-second penalty, of which I'm sure there have been millions of those dished out over the history of this game. We drop down this left hand, a little bit of an awkward corner, that one. And then especially this corner, really crucial to the lap time as you're driving onto this back straight. And this is where the penalty is going to be served. And I don't think I'm close enough to fully capitalise. Depending on the track that you're on, a 0.5 second penalty could lose you 1 second. It could also lose you 2 or 3. Depends which track and where the penalty line is. I would say that guy has lost pretty much exactly 1 second because of that. I'm going to try it around the outside. You can see there's a bit of a moment of lag. And I'm sent a little bit wide onto the artificial grass there on the outside. And unfortunately, there was a chance there of going for third. And now I find myself in 6th. And I've alluded to this multiple times earlier. But if you don't get it quite right, there's a very good chance you lose positions. And so any move you kind of make, you've got to really make sure it sticks. Now, I think I was a little bit unlucky there because I think there was a bit of lag. And it didn't quite work out for me, but it is what it is. But it is great to see such a close lobby. Now, we don't often get this in Daily Race C or B or A, to be honest. You don't normally get races this close. And it's quite surprising to me that the qualifying was incredibly close. And that set the tone for the race as well. So really good battling. Despite that setback on the previous lap, we're going to try and continue to move forward. We've done it once. We can try and do it again. We did start the race in 7th, so we are back, almost back there. But of course, 3rd place is very much within sight. The top 2 are beginning to stretch clear. They're about 3 seconds in front of the guy in 2nd there, who now, sorry, in 3rd, and he has a penalty. Another one. I don't think he'll serve it here. If you get a penalty on that preceding corner, you have to wait to the next lap to serve it. But it looks like we're going to have a tasty proposition going through the hairpin and on the exit here. As we're going to go in 2 by 2. We're going to try and get that exit. So we do get the overtake done. That looks like lapping GT's there, gone from 3rd to 6th, and he still has the penalty to serve. This is going to be an interesting moment here because we have the inside line. Flash Dagger's kind of caught on the outside. Car going into the pit lane. So we are going to head into the pit lane at some point very soon. The space opens up on the left-hand side. So we're going to go for the double. 3 abreast momentarily here down the straight. Try not to overcook the brakes on the way in. Hitting the 100-meter marker board. Keeping it pinned on the inside. And going back to 3rd place. We are 3.8 seconds off the lead. The 2 behind fighting for position. How is that going to be resolved? You can see they're not wanting to give up at all. And that's actually good news for me. The red Lamborghini there, the Spanish driver, gets spun out. You can see him recovering in the back of shot. And that's good news for me because, as you can see, we've immediately opened up a 1.7 second gap. So I don't have any pressure behind for the coming couple of corners at least, or laps. So we can try and push forward here. I mean, trying to catch up with the top 2 is a bit of a tall order. But we are going to bring the car into the pit lane at the end of lap 7 here. Changing over to a fresh set of soft tyres. And it's a mandatory pit stop here to add a bit of spice to the race. although most people pit on the same lap, maybe lap 6 or 7. And you can actually do the no stop, but the no change tyre strategy, but I would say it's better to change. Now, as we rejoin the circuit, you see there Time Killer making a good move around the outside. So he was the car that dived into the pit lane a lap earlier, and he's actually made the jump, courtesy of all of us fighting a little bit on that lap. That's actually handed him quite a few positions there. So we're still in 6th, but a couple of the cars at the front, first and second, have yet to go into the pit lane, and therefore this is effectively the battle for 3rd once more, and I'm in 4th effectively on the road, with that group behind just beginning to be dropped. This is at the moment a 3-way battle for this position, heading up towards the hairpin once again, firmly in the slipstream. Of course, Time Killer in front does not have any slipstream, so just considering the strategy here, I'm not going to be close enough to go for this move, and I wouldn't think it would be worth it anyway. So we're going to remain behind here, just be really conscious, and this is something I was getting wrong over the course of this race and the subsequent races. As just run a little bit wide here, as there was a car on the inside. I am going to get a penalty for that, unfortunately. But my braking point for that hairpin was a little bit wrong. I would say when you're in clear air, you can brake obviously a lot later, because with the slipstream you are going in there a bit quicker. You have to brake a bit earlier. As we cross the line to begin lap number 9, I do have this penalty. This guy covers the inside quite early, a little bit too early, makes his move too soon, and I'm able to switch over quite late and get the job done. A bit of contact mid-corner, but I don't think there's really much in that, as we move therefore back into 3rd as the other guys go into the pit lane. Now, of course, this penalty will have to be served towards the tail end of this lap. I decided to go for that move there, just to push my opponents back slightly, and therefore once I serve this penalty, they won't be as far in front. We're going to whip it forward slightly to the moment we do serve the penalty, which is here. There it is. And as we saw before, you lose about a second serving a penalty here, and luckily enough, that means I just about stay in front of Joker. And I was noticing this Hungarian driver, he started right at the back, and it's actually very possible to move through from the back of the pack to the front, given the way the slipstream works and how close the cars are. So we still have a chance here, but we have to be very wary that there's some very fast players behind, and we could easily lose positions as well as gain them. So I was quite unsure what to do here. I eventually go for the defense and cover the inside into turn 1. He tries it around the outside, and I must say it was a very nice move. It's possible to do that. He actually gets a really good run on the way out, courtesy of the wider line. I'm going to try and fight it around the outside here. No, I'm not. I'm actually going to back out and not risk too much. We saw what happens when you try to go too wide through that sequence, with Flash Stagger and the Spanish driver trying to do it and failing ultimately, with the Spanish driver actually spinning out completely as a result. So now, I would say with a 1.3 second behind gap, I can really focus on this group in front. The top 2 once more have gained again. They're working really effectively in 1st and 2nd, just not really fighting too much. There's no need to fight too much too early if you can get away with it. So they are getting away with it, and they are now nearly 7 seconds in front. So this is very much battle for 3rd. I think that'll be a good result given the quality of the drivers in here, the standard of the lobby, and the fact that I started 7th. Late on the brakes into the hairpin, we're going to try and cut back and try to get this exit. This is a similar situation to what we saw before, lots of cars in front, and this is the real kind of choke point on this lap. The run down the hill over the line into turn 1 again. And this is where you have to make your quick decisions. Where am I going to go? How am I going to get the overtake done here? They all cover the inside. I do like to swing over to the inside quite late. It opens up. I put myself in a good position there, albeit very narrow. And it would have been quite a brave move to send it up the inside there. Very high chance that I would get that wrong. So we're going to remain behind for the time being. Look at this. Joker's slowly but surely making his way through the pack. It's quite interesting to watch his progress, because you have to have patience when you do this, but you have to just time your overtakes right and just get them right, and that's exactly what he's doing. Slowly but surely moving up the deck as we drop down out of the middle sector. Again, awkward corner, and you have to kind of get the car rotated. This car does like a tiny bit of sliding. You can then get on the power. It's very stable. As we head onto the back straight for the 11th time. 2 more laps to go after this one. And it's really bubbling up into a brilliant battle. I mean, it's been a brilliant battle throughout. But it's getting even warmer here. As we head towards the hairpin, the space is going to open up on the left. I'm going to go for it. Again, quite risky to go this narrow. But we hit the braking point rather well. And get 3 positions in one go. So 6th to 3rd. Can we go about protecting our position now for 2 final difficult laps? And look at this. I mean, they are right on me. There's going to be no escaping this pack unless they start fighting each other. I'm going to stick fully to the left along the pit wall there. Not relinquishing this position until the last moment. I dip out to the right-hand side. But then assume the racing line. And that was a bit of a risky move. I think the car behind there could have sent it. Doesn't actually go for it. So 2 more laps to try to withstand the assault from behind as we run through the middle sector. Not easy to overtake here. Time killer there with a mistake, or he might have been hit. I'm not sure what happened. Very possible there was a bit of contact given how close they all were. But that's 1 less car to worry about, and the gap opens up. 0.8 seconds now back to the Stig, the Norwegian driver there in 4th place. So trying to get this gap opened up as much as possible. The gap 0.9, near enough 1 second, and that looks really good. It's a great time to have a gap like that, but it certainly isn't over. It only takes 1 car to get within 0.7, 0.6, and then 2 straights in a row. They're going to be reeling you in. Look at that Joker looking up the inside. He wants to make that progress once again and move up the positions, as there is not much time left to do it. So down the hill for the penultimate time. I'm just very much conscious that Joker has gone through there, and he is actually still within slipstream range. And so down the back straight, or down the main straight, he's going to be gaining a couple of tenths. So this needs to be a good lap. It's a tricky race because it's not over until the last dying seconds. Cars still can slipstream past you on the drag race to the finish line, and that's what makes this quite a difficult race to manage in terms of defense. There's no chance of offense here. Top 2, I mean, progress report there, 8 seconds in front. That was a poor run through that middle sector, and as you can see, Joker is right back on me, and so this is not going to be an easy finish. He could have made my life a lot easier by staying about a second behind. But half of that is my fault for driving quite a slow lap here. And so we're going to have to go defensive once again. Onto the back straight for the last time. Coming out of here, moving immediately to the left-hand side. He can have the outside line and move to the right. So I was just very sure in my defence. Just making sure that he does not go through at all. Now, of course, there's an alternative strategy of letting him go through and then slipstreaming back past. But there is risk to that, of course. Now, hitting the brakes, not overshooting, just allowing him to have the outside line. Trying to chop in front once again. He's got a run here. This is going to be super close as we head down the hill. It's going to be a drag race between the 2 of us for 3rd place in this race. I'm going to cut to the chase cam to try to see a better perspective. I think there's a bit of lag there. It looks like a bit of contact. But thankfully, remaining on the inside, I'm going to just about do enough and stay in 3rd place. Oh my god, what a race that was. Whew, I thought he was going to get me there. Get in there, Lewis. What a result.